Leans into the mirror, fluffing his bangs with loose, negligent wrists. What do you think of my hair? He stands in front of me, his fists propped on his hips. His voice has a hint of reproach. Didn't you notice that I cut it? You're always cutting it. I don't know if I saw it since you cut it last. He strides back to the mirror with such strength of footfall that makes the floorboards shudder. He adjusts the scarf around his neck and elongates his neck like a turkey. Don't I look famous with my hair like this? I look like Shane from the L Word. Do you think I look like Shane? And another day. I think I look really Euro like this, don't you think? Don't I look like I could be in Paris or Berlin maybe, don't you think? He calls the people who rip us off on pot and sits down beside me to wait. Ellen is on TV. She's just given an elementary school teacher $10,000 in a TiVo. Oh, I miss Kelly. He slumps down on the sofa, propping his rainbow spray-painted sneakers on the table in front of him. It's so hard to be alone. I just wish you'd come back and take care of me, make me tea, sleep beside me again. I'm not used to being alone. It's horrible. I'm miserable. William lights a cigarette. Back when I had cancer, Kelly would film me while I was asleep. He was terrified that I was going to die. And I guess he didn't want it to happen without him knowing. He blows smoke out of his mouth. Isn't that romantic? It is, I say. These days, if I'm lucky, I wake up before noon. I make coffee and sit with it for hours until past the point when it grows cold, and I contemplate the possibilities. Sometimes I take steps to make them materialize, but more often I succumb to the dreaming. I like my static, quiet place. In a way, it is here when the possibilities perch at the limitless, before the swooping down to action, before the choice. The array of sparkling lights lined up below in a dazzling heartbeat of number and chance. I look for work. I apply to a study about hair products. I will discuss my sex life next Friday for $50. I apply to a depression study and tell them that my father tried to kill himself at least 3 times. Figure this will be called for a callback. I perform a survey on health and fitness goals. I will be a flyer girl. I will be a secretary. I will clean your house. My jaw is so tight, Mahina says. Now you have a name. She draws from her cigarette with her right hand and massages her left cheekbone with the other. This is so shitty. Yes, I say. She has discovered that $200 has gone missing, and she doesn't know who besides William could have done it. It's not the first time he's stolen from her, not the first time he's betrayed her trust. She doesn't want to accuse him. She hates her own suspicions. But he was so good at finding things, he'd said so himself, and her money had been so well hidden, stashed behind a framed postcard of 2 human skulls in a dark desert foreground. A little later, this is just narrative. We migrate to the front stoop. Mahina lights another cigarette and sips her Earl Grey. The trees on our street... Oh, this is the same shit. Somehow we made it back to the porch. Yeah, it became a loop, apparently.
Yes, it does.
I didn't realize that.
Fucking tired. You have to pay for it?
No, but you're here.
Shit. Tell me when to come in.
So we're back on the porch again. An FBI agent goes into the building across the street. A man walking down the sidewalk pauses in front of us to beat at the trunk of a tree with both hands, exclaiming and waving his arms so as to scare away all the birds. William is Mahina's best friend. She has taken care of him for a long time. Perhaps they have gotten too close over the years, for now they resemble a married couple with a host of well-established hang-ups and a concurrent healthy dose of blame. I just don't know, she says. When do I give up? Should I just give up? The promenade continues. A string of strollers pushed by young mothers or couples. A teenage couple leans outside the corner store. The boy's hips pressed low into hers. She tilts her head to accommodate the angle of his head. I wonder if she feels anything, or if she's just biding her time, covering for later, maintaining. There's just 2 more pages. Should I don't know.
Keep going.
Keep going.
It's a long time to read, sorry.
It's being enjoyed.
A black cat arrows down the block in our direction. Mahina grabs my arm to tug me inside. She and I are both superstitious people. For example, she avoids odd numbers, while I have always been attracted to them. Every hour when the minutes match up with the hour, 1:11, 2:22, 3:33, etc., I must make a wish, and I feel compelled to utter it silently to myself over and over again until the lucky minute is up. The wind is cold, the subways smell like urine. Outside, the heavy fog of fried chicken collects in a block. Leaves, it's looping.
Keep going.
Apparently I did the cut and paste thing. When William gets home, he tells us about the spinal tap he had to have. He also says you have to pay to use the television set, and they found cancerous cells in one of his lymph nodes. I can't go on chemo again. William paces back and forth in front of Mahina and I won't. I'd rather die. Do you understand that? I'd rather die. He takes the money. He denies taking the money. He's not a junkie anymore. He wouldn't do that, he says. It must have been Donnie. That time he was on the Klonopin and passed out on your bed. I thought he was passed out, but I guess we don't know. I wouldn't do that, he says. Why would I do that? I don't even need to do that now. They have a long talk about damaged trust. At the end of it, the same doubts and resentments persist. Truth is far too muddy to seek out. Meanwhile, the dirty dishes mount in the sink, roaches meander the bathroom tile, mice find their way into my bag of dumpstered croutons. The toilet is blocked, the stove doesn't work, the refrigerator lets out a cool trickle of water but is warm inside. We owe 2 months' rent and it's the 3rd of the month. The landlord has been up since 4 a.m., likely staring at her clock, waiting for the earliest hour to descend upon us. At 7 a.m., I heard her at the front door opening and shutting it loudly. At 9 a.m., she swept the hall. The broom made loud, coarse sounds as it raked the dirt from our door jamb. William says he hears her banging pots and pans together above his room at 10 a.m. Above his room. At 10 a.m. she came knocking, a short bullet of a woman with white hair tied back in a knot and a hard gray face. I have come for the rent. She says it with a stern and weary resolve. She knows that we do not have it. The next day, most of the rent gets paid. William's father wires him money. Now we owe either $270 or $575. Neither William nor the landlord seem to know what is right. Her grandchildren run up and down the hallways upstairs, populated with forest green banisters, dark because they cut back on the bills by never keeping on the lights. The smell of onions and thick soups drift down sometimes from where we stand above our hot plates stirring lentils or oatmeal or brown rice. William has just gotten back from the city. I have had such a bad day, I am so upset. He stands in front of me with his hand on his hip, his neck craned slightly to the side. I got really sick from the fucking chemo drugs and vomited in Union Square, so I went to Sephora. I just wanted samples, to cover up the smell. Sephora's not hiring gay dudes anymore. It's full of fucking straight dudes. Just dudes, too. This guy, he wasn't even a metrosexual. So I'm standing there forever trying to get this guy's attention. He's totally ignoring me. Forever. I had to do this. He puts his arm above his head and snapped, and then he told me they were out of samples. I said, sure, sweetie, whatever you say. I was so pissed. I was practically throwing perfume bottles. I was so pissed I stole stuff just for the sake of stealing it. But I got my revenge on Sephora, he says. What'd you steal, I ask. Cheapest, tiniest things ever. He holds up travel shampoo, conditioner, and body lotion. I just did it like it was the most natural thing in the world, and no one even said boo to me. I stood there cussing and doing my hair. I don't know if that's supposed to say cussing. It was totally how far would they let me go? Just wanted to flip the shit out on people. It was just looking for a reason to do it. I think that's it.